So, if you've ever been in a car accident, you know that chaotic feeling right afterwards, right? Everything's a bit of a blur. And in the middle of all that confusion, there's this one document that everyone thinks is the be all and end all, the police report. But how much does it actually matter for your accident claim here in Scotland? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Yeah, this is the big one, isn't it? It's what everyone wants to know. Does that piece of paper from the police officer basically decide whether you win or lose your compensation claim? Is their opinion the final say? Let's get right to it.
The short answer? Nope, not at all. Look, a police report it's definitely useful. It's powerful stuff for sure. But is it the final word? Absolutely not. And the reason why, well, it comes down to a really important difference in how our legal system works. Okay, to really get a handle on why the police report isn't the king of the castle, you've got to understand this. After an accident, there are basically two different legal tracks running at the same time. They're totally separate. You've got the police and the criminal side of things, and then you have your civil claim. And you can see on this slide just how different these two worlds really are. Your civil claim, that's all about getting you compensation for your injuries and losses. It's basically a dispute between you and the other person's insurance company. And the level of proof you need is called the balance of probabilities. It just means, is it more likely than not, like 51%, that the other driver was at fault? Now the police, that's a whole different ballgame. They're there to enforce the law. It's the state going after an individual. And their standard of proof? It's way, way higher. They have to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. Huge difference. And that leads to this really crucial point, because that bar for proof is so much lower in your civil claim. You can 100% win your case and get compensation, even if the police decide they don't have enough evidence to prosecute the other driver. Think of it like this. They're two totally separate games with completely different rule books. All right, so we've established it's not the final word. But when there is a police report, what's actually in it? What kind of information are we talking about? Let's kind of peel back the cover and see what's inside. First up, you've got the basics, the real, just the facts stuff. You know, the date, time, and the exact spot where it happened. They'll note down the weather, what the road conditions were like, all that stuff. Nobody usually argues about these things, and they're great for setting a clear picture of what was going on. Next, you get the who's who, all the key details about the people involved. Names, addresses, license and insurance info. But here's the real kicker. The contact details for any independent witnesses. Seriously, this can be pure gold. Sometimes the police are the only ones who get a witness's name and number, and having someone who saw what happened and has no skin in the game, wow, that can make a huge difference to your claim. Okay, and this is where it starts to get interesting, where the story comes in. The report will have what each driver said happened, their version of events, recorded right there on the spot. Plus, you get the officer's own professional observations, where the cars ended up, where the debris was scattered, if there were any skid marks. It's pretty much the official first take on the whole situation. But you know, out of everything in that report, there is one thing that makes a solicitor's eyes light up. It's called a contemporaneous admission. And what that means is a statement right from the other driver's mouth to the police, right there at the scene. Something like this. And you can probably guess why these are so powerful. They're totally unfiltered. This is what someone says before they've had a chance to phone their lawyer or call their insurance company and get a story straight. It's raw, it's unguarded, and believe me, that carries a ton of weight when you're making your claim. Okay, so you've got this report. It's packed with all this good stuff. So how does your solicitor actually use it? How do they turn it into a tool to help build your case? Well, the process itself is actually pretty simple. Your solicitor will make a formal request to Police Scotland. Their disclosure unit will process it, and then, boom, the report lands on your solicitor's desk. From there, they'll go through it line by line, picking out everything that helps your case, and, just as importantly, spotting any potential problems they need to get ahead of. But what if there is no report? I mean, this happens all the time, right? It was a minor bump, you just swapped details at the roadside, and no one called the police. Does that kill your claim before it even starts? Look, I know this is a huge worry for a lot of people, but I've got good news. The answer is a definite no. Your claim is absolutely not over. In fact, it might not even be weaker. Your claim just moves forward using other types of evidence, and honestly, this is where what you do at the scene becomes so critical. Those photos you snapped on your phone, the footage from your dash cam, the witness details you managed to grab yourself, even just the damage to the cars, All of that becomes the evidence that tells the story.
All right, we have covered a ton of information here, so let's just pause and boil it all down. What are the absolute key things you need to remember from all this?
Here's the bottom line. Number one, a police report is great to have, but it is not essential. You don't have to have one. Two, your civil claim for compensation and any police action are two different things, living in two different worlds. Three, if you do have a report, that on-the-spot admission from the other driver, that's the most powerful part. And finally, and this is a big one, your claim can definitely 100% succeed even if the police were never involved at all. And that really brings us to one last thing to think about. Knowing what you know now, that a police report isn't a guarantee and it isn't the final judge, what does that make you think is the single most important thing you can do for yourself right there at the roadside to protect your claim? I'll leave you with that one.